Lucy Charles-Barclay, 5 minutes 30 lead into T2. Did you think you'd won the race?
No, I never thought I'd won the race, especially in these conditions and knowing the calibre of runner that Ashley is. I just knew that whatever happened, I needed to just stick to my plan, because in that heat and humidity, anything can happen, and blow-ups are almost like 90% going to happen. So I was like, just run my own pace, see what happens, and if I get caught, I get caught.
When you're on the bike with Lucy Buckingham, was it easy for you? Was it hard for you? Was it somewhere in the middle? And was there any points where you were really struggling out there?
No, I felt like we had a really good kind of thing going. So I feel like it's great when you've got two Brits that are willing to really push the pace and almost understand that actually if we can push this and work together, it's in both of our interests to get a good lead onto the run. So yeah, I felt like I was having a really good time out there. I definitely, the first couple of laps felt quite tough, and then I think it actually felt really nice to have someone in front. I think when you're leading, which most of the time I am, you're almost racing blind, so you haven't actually got, you're just like, oh yeah, this feels okay, this feels good enough. It's not like, oh, there's someone ahead that's actually able to go a bit quicker, let's push the pace on. So it's nice to kind of have that carrot to chase for a bit. So yeah, I feel like we worked quite well together out there.
There was a point about halfway through the ride, about 40k into the ride, where Lucy Buckingham did take the lead from you for the first time. And it looked to us like she put in a surge. And I don't know whether she was trying to get away from you or just trying to lift the pace. Did it feel to you like she put in a surge?
Yeah, maybe potentially. I mean, she went round pretty fast, but I guess in a way it's kind of good, because then you're instantly out of that draft zone. So you've not got to think, oh, do I need to slow down and hesitate? So actually, in a way, it actually worked quite well, because it meant I didn't have to break up my rhythm as she came past.
Up that top of that climb where she started to cramp, what did you see and what did you think? Because you just seemed to go around her and didn't really affect you that much.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was happening. I wasn't sure if she was just stopping to be like, right, now it's your turn to go. I didn't realise she was actually cramping. But yeah, I guess at that point it's still like, we've still got a fair way to go on the bike and anything can happen. So yeah, just keep in your own head, I think.
And when you're riding with Lucy Buckingham, are you thinking of her as a threat, or are you thinking of Ash Gentle and Indy Lee behind, and you're actually just happy and seeing Lucy Buckingham as someone who's there to help your race in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I know she's super strong on the bike, and I guess we saw from Indy that anything can happen and you can go and win, and maybe you're not expected to. So I guess like you never want to count anyone out, but at the same time, most of the time I'm just focusing on what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, am I fueling enough? Like, especially in these conditions, I think you kind of can't really focus on anyone else. You just need to manage yourself.
Last year when you were here, Sarah Perez-Sala led you out of the water. You guys didn't have as big a gap as what happened yesterday. You took the lead straight away from the moment you dived into the water, and you held it the whole way into T1. Was it a conscious decision to push the pace? Did you actually feel like you were pushing the pace?
I just felt like I kind of took it out how I normally do, and then really settled. I mean, the water is warm, so it just felt like, you know what, actually just do the swim in a way, get through it. And it definitely, when you get back in the second time, the water feels even warmer. So at that point I was like, you know what, just stretch out the stroke and yeah, get through it. So I feel like we actually had quite a solid swim, considering I felt like that's how I was leading it out. And yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Were you surprised to see Rebecca Clark in T1 with you and Lucy Buckingham?
Not really. I mean, I know she's a really good swimmer, and obviously she's not normally with me and Lucy, so she definitely had a solid start and a good swim. And like I said, I'd actually rather her be with me than pulling anyone else along.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a nice little group we had.
And then the run. I want to talk about the run quite a bit. Leading into yesterday's race, did you feel like you were in good run shape?
I'd say I'm a long way off my best run shape. I've been consistent, but the volume has been very low. It's kind of just been about being cautious and building. So to be honest, I was pretty happy with that run, and to actually coming to the race without anything aching and any pains is always a win. So yeah, I was just happy to get through it without anything feeling like it got sore afterwards.
And did you know where you were compared to Ash Gentle? Like, at what point did it become obvious, okay, this is between me and Ash?
Yeah, I think pretty early on. I mean, obviously the time was coming down and you get the odd split going on, and I was only ever getting a split to Ashley, so I was like, I'm sure she's obviously the biggest mover in the field. And yeah, like I said, it was just about running my pace. I felt like if I ran any quicker than what was probably smart, I was probably going to blow up. So yeah, it felt like she was the obvious one that was charging from behind.
Did you ever feel like you were going to win the race, or were you always running a little bit scared?
I felt like the potential for the win was there. I mean, like I said, anything can happen, especially in these conditions. I mean, even Ashley could have cramped. So you never ever give up and you just keep going all the way to the end, or that's certainly what I've always done. And yeah, I guess for me, I was just like, I knew it was going to be quite close. I knew it was going to be on that last lap. And I almost was like, oh God, is it going to be like a sprint finish in this heat? So yeah, I guess it's just one that is going to give me a lot of fuel for the fire to go home and just keep building on that run.
You're so used to being out in front on runs by yourself. Yesterday, when you're out in front by 5.5 minutes on the run, 4 minutes 30 on the run, 3 minutes 30 on the run, whatever it is, what are you saying to yourself in your head? What's your mental dialogue?
I think it's just keep going, to be honest, like one foot in front of the other, especially in these conditions, because it's like just willing yourself to keep going when you're so hot. And yeah, using the aid stations, keeping cool, getting the nutrition on board, just trying to be as smart as possible, even though you're in this quite high pressure racing scenario. It's almost forget about that and just focus on yourself and do everything right.
At what point did you sort of, when Ash became close to you, did you resign yourself to the fact that Ash is going to catch me, I don't think I can win? Or are you still thinking, if she does catch me, I'm going to run with her?
Yeah, I think you always just got to go with whatever happens and be a dynamic racer. So obviously when Ashley came past, it's not like, oh, it's over, because you've still got Ks to go and anything can happen. So again, I'm just sticking to what I think is possible for me and just keep going. And yeah, I guess at that point I knew that third place was never going to catch me. So you're like, well, at the end of the day, if I push a bit too hard here and walk, I'm probably still going to be second. So yeah, it's a kind of funny scenario, really, I guess.
And then when she went past you, she put in a very clear, massive surge, probably the fastest she ran all day. What was that like for you?
I mean, it's just pure respect, really. Like, fair play. Ashley is on a tear on this run, and yeah, there's not much I can do to retaliate to that move.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would look at that and go, Lucy Charles-Barclay, second again. What does she have to do to win this? I know Belinda Granger made that comment on the commentary. I sort of look at it and go, Lucy Charles-Barclay, 5 minutes 30 lead off the bike and hasn't been running that much in training. To me, it's almost exciting, because say you are starting to run 60, 70, 80 kilometres consistently for 10 weeks. I mean, if you can get a 5 minute 30 gap off the bike, you're not going to run the same pace you did here. Which way do you view it? Do you go the negative side of it, or do you go the, hey, this is exciting for what I can do later on in the year?
Yeah, I mean, I always try and look at it from the positive side. And I think if you finish a race and you're like, I literally am peak, there's not one thing I can do to improve, then you're like, oh God, like this is me at my best. Whereas I know there's X, Y, and Z I can go home and work on and make big improvements. So I felt like I made some small changes that really made a difference from Miami to here. I felt like there's some quite big things I can work on in a bigger time frame before the next races.
Can you tell me what those small things you did between Miami and here were?
Yeah, we made some adjustments to my bike position that made me more aero and actually able to deliver more power, which obviously we've only done for a small block of time, but it's made a big difference. Just continuing to work on the strength and conditioning side of where I did have my injury to make that stronger. And I've been consistent on the run, and now it's, let's see if we can build up the volume a bit more.
Are you coming to San Fran next, or are you missing San Fran?
Undecided yet. I feel like I might miss that one and focus on London being the home race, and then I can put in a big block of work. But the appeal for that race in San Fran does have a bit of a fun appeal, because it feels like a bit of an adventure race. It's so iconic, so who knows? Yeah, I might be there.
Is London the most important T100 race to you because it's your home race, or is it the grand final that's most important to you?
I think the grand final has to be the most important. I mean, there's the most on the line at that race. It's likely every single woman will be at that race. I think you have to be. So, and there's more points on the line there. So I feel like it's a full season, and I want to keep building, and that's when I want to be at my best. But London has this magical special feel because it is the home race. I'll have family, friends. I should have the home crowd cheering me on. So I feel like that's one where I definitely want to put down a statement.
Lucy Charles-Barclay, impressive performance yesterday. Thank you for making the race fun, because without you, that race is nowhere near the race it is. So we appreciate it as fans, and whether it's San Fran or London, can't wait to see you next time around.
Thank you.